All right, guys. So this may sound a little funny or maybe a little awkward, but would you two like to reenact the most recent fight that you've had? When you reenact these fights, I can kind of see how you two interact with each other, look at the patterns, and I could maybe share some of my observations with you guys. So if you would like to reenact, how about Charlotte, you can start.
James, I told you, you can't be doing this anymore. Your behavior, your disobedience, your hatred towards me is getting way under my skin. You're so disrespectful to me, honestly. I don't know how to control you. It's impossible being your mom sometimes.
See, you say this and make me feel like shit. Why would I want to obey you? Go to school like you want me to and all of that when you just tell me how bad I am. Like, okay, if you think I'm bad, I'll prove to you that I am.
Okay, so what I kind of gathered from that is maybe there's some blaming statements from you, Charlotte, and maybe some actions that you do, James, are maybe taken out of resentment for your mom from how she yells at you. So, Charlotte, you feel as if James doesn't listen to you, and he also doesn't listen to any of the other figures in his life, like those at school. And I can tell that upsets you. And then, James, what I've heard from you is that you feel as if your mom's hard on you, and maybe you feel like you can't do anything right, so you decide not to do anything right. So Charlotte, do you have anything that you want to say to James, and how his behaviors make you feel by using those I statements that we talked about earlier instead of maybe the you statements or the blaming statements?
It makes me sad, James, that you're doing some of the things that you're doing. I don't like seeing you smoking and staying out late and skipping school. I want you to be successful. You could do anything you wanted if you put your mind to it. That's why I yell. I know I can be mean and raise my voice to you. I don't mean to, but when you disobey me in your school, it makes me angry, hurt, and upset.
Thank you. That was really good. I liked how you used those I statements and how you felt. James, how do you feel about what your mom just said to you? And how do you feel about your mom and how her behaviors make you feel when she does yell? I want to make sure that you get your chance to speak and that you have a voice because you're just as much a part of this family as your mom is.
I don't know. I don't know who would want to be home and all they're doing is getting yelled at the whole time. That's why I go to my friend's house and I miss my curfew. I don't like staying at home and I don't like following the rules. I'm 15. I can make my own decisions. I mean, no one can actually stop me from doing what I want anyways, unless they want to lay some hands. I just feel like I ain't got nobody, so I got to be there for myself.
Okay, James, I think you said something pretty significant. Do you mind explaining to your mom what you meant by you don't have anyone?
Well, I used to have my grandparents, but they're gone and dead. I don't have a dad. I used to have you, Mom, but you got sick and lost your job. I just don't feel like I got anyone to count on.
I didn't realize these changes have affected you so much. I know I can get out of hand with my yelling sometimes, but I've been going through a lot of stress as well as a stroke, and maybe I take it out on you sometimes.
So I think you two are onto something right now. And if it's okay, I want to kind of explain something to you about families. So imagine that your family, your system, is like a body of water, right? So it's very still and calm. And that's what we call homeostasis. But when something happens, like a change, it can be like a little drop into the water and it has like this ripple effect. So it affects everything in your family system. Changes big or small, they affect your patterns, your interactions, and all the behaviors of your family.
Now that I think about it, James' behaviors started shortly after the death of my parents. We lived with them too, so it was a big adjustment for a third grader to lose two people so close together in time. He was emotional then, but the more I think about it, after my stroke, that's when a lot of the behaviors worsened. He stopped going to school and he started smoking and cussing and all that.
Okay, well, I think it's great to look at these problems, so like the smoking, missing school, disobedience, as some structural family changes. So I want to hear from you, James. Do you think what your mom has said is true, that maybe you don't respect authority and you've been kind of acting out because of some emotions that you've had or some changes that you've had with your family, like the death of your grandparents, and your mom's health history?
I don't know. I don't think about it much or feel much. I normally just feel a lot of anger. I don't know if I ever feel much else because I've learned to block it out. I just see red now.
Okay, well, this is, I think, important to talk about at a different time. Maybe next time we meet, or sometime in the future, because when changes like this happen, behaviors can definitely change. But I think now it would be a great time to look at some future goals. And I think it's beneficial to kind of make these goals together. So what kind of goals do you two want to work towards together? James, I'd like to hear from you. What's a goal you think that you would have, or something that you would like to change about the family?
Maybe I'd follow more rules and stuff if I had more freedom and my mom didn't yell at me as much.
Okay. James, you said that, if your mom yells at you less, maybe you would follow more rules. So what do you think is a good rule that you can start with, that you would follow if your mom does her part and maybe yells at you less and uses different forms of punishment?
I think I could definitely start going to school. I don't want to go to jail or anything.
Okay. I think that's a great place to start, going to school. And it is true, you may get in some more trouble if you don't. So I think that's a great place to start. What about you, Charlotte? What's something that you think you could change?
Yeah, I definitely think that would be a start. I don't want him getting into legal trouble, especially at his age. I just want him to graduate. I could definitely yell less and try something different for some of James's behaviors, like maybe take some of his stuff away.
Okay, so I think that's a good start. So maybe, James, you can go to school during the week, next week. Charlotte, you could maybe try different forms of punishment because, James, you are following Charlotte's rules, but we want this to be fair for both of you, since it's not just one person, it's something within the family. So I think today we discovered some underlying patterns of your communication. So maybe, Charlotte, you'll yell, maybe James will get resentful. We've made some goals, which I think are great. And we've learned a little bit about how changes in the family, like a loss of a grandparent, some different health problems, how those can affect our families, not just one individual, but the whole system. And then you also practiced, both of you, a little bit with communication with the I statements, and instead of maybe blaming or yelling. So I think that's been really great, and you guys did a great job. So I'm really honored that you guys let me in and that you could kind of share a little bit about your family. You could let me see some of how you guys interact together, and you were really raw and genuine with that. So I'm really excited to see you both next week. And I'm really excited to also hear about the changes that you've made in your communications. We'll see if James has gone to school, and just kind of how both of you feel about what's been happening after this session. So thank you for coming in, and I hope you have a great day.
Thank you.
You.
Thanks.